Am I the a-hole for making my parents choose between my sister going to jail or replacing my car with their vacation money? Plus many updates. I, female 17, live with my parents. I have an older sister at 29 that they had when they were super young. Like, I think my mom was 19 and my dad was 18. They did not do a great job with her, and she has a lot of problems. She is chronically unemployed and she is a thief. She has 2 kids that are okay. They live with us as well because her boyfriend didn't want them around. I like the kids, but they're spoiled little brats my parents dote on to make up for being crappy parents to their mom. My parents won't let me put a lock on my door because it is their house and they don't want that. No problem. I talk to the kids and explain about what would happen if they came into my room without permission. So we have an understanding. Well, my sister broke up with her boyfriend and she needed a place to stay. I begged my parents not to let her stay with us. They declined. So I begged again for a lock for my door. No dice. I have to go to school, so I can't guard my stuff at all times. When I came home on Friday, I found my car absolutely trashed and the side of it destroyed. My sister had gone into my room, found my spare key and taken my car, then lost control on the ice after a day of eating crap and tossing fast food wrappers everywhere and sideswiped a tree. When I saw my car, I was livid. I told my parents that I expect her to pay to fix it. They said she didn't have any money. So I said that I would call my grandparents as they helped me get the car and insurance. After talking with my grandfather, I came back to talk to my parents. I said that the insurance would cover fixing or replacing my car depending on the damage, but that I would have to file a police report and that my sister would probably be charged for stealing my car. They begged me to tell insurance that she had permission. I said nope. So rather than go through insurance, they are replacing my car, but they're using money that they had set aside to take me and my nieces to Orlando next summer for my graduation. It's fine. I can do without seeing Disney World again. But my parents, sister, and nieces are upset with me and saying that I'm an a-hole for denying my nieces the opportunity to go on a vacation that they never had. I just asked them if a lock for my door would have been cheaper. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the mini update. Not the a-hole. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I just asked them if a lock for my door would have been cheaper. Legend. Heck yeah. I hope you learned what not to do by watching her older sister. My other favorite line is, my sister, parents, nieces are all mad at me. Like, why would a sister have the nerve to be mad? She stole the car, and it's her own fault her kids will be disappointed. Opie's parents suck too for enabling this absurdity. Not a-hole, Opie. The children are upset that they did not travel. The parents are upset that they were forced to take responsibility for their Golden Girls' actions. The sister is upset because she's a narcissist, and these types of people will always blame someone else. She will never accept the blame. Not the a-hole, and you still need a lock. I have a security cam, and I have evidence. It was better than a lock in this case. Add a lock and keep the cam. As a thief, your a-hole sister could still pick the lock and take anything again. Not the a-hole, and your parents are still bad parents to her and to her kids. Letting kids get away with everything and not having to face the consequences is, in my opinion, abusive, because then they have no idea how to function in the real world. If your parents had actually learned anything about parenting, they'd make your sister deal with this, or would at least force her to get a job to repay them. If they did that, then the kids wouldn't miss out on Disney. Every single aspect of this has been your parents' fault, and they're still failing. Came here to say this. She's 29 and living with her parents while they raise her kids. Seems like a no-brainer that she should be working, and all money going to her pay for car repairs until it's paid back. Mini update. Hey, I just got home from school. There was a deadbolt on my bedroom door, and my mom gave me a key. She says that she is keeping the other one for emergency. I agreed, as long as it was only for emergencies. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my friend to help pay his biological daughter's tuition? This all started 17 years ago when my friend and his girlfriend, now married, gave birth to my daughter Jasmine. They had a baby they didn't want, unprotected fun and no abortion, and gave it to me. I was friends with this guy for a couple of years, and my wife was infertile and was devastated we couldn't have kids. So, they gave us the baby and life was good, until the pandemic hit. The pandemic hit hard for us, and my wife lost her job. Thankfully, I got a better job and make money now. enough to support needs and barely scrape by for my daughter's tuition. Now, on the other hand, my friend and his wife are living on cruise ships. He makes a lot of money, so much that he basically lives on cruises and owns a nice condo in Honolulu. They wanted to visit my daughter, and during dinner, fancy restaurant paid by them, offered to pay 20% of my daughter's tuition. My daughter asked why not more, and they told her that she wasn't their responsibility as they gave her to me and my wife. Dinner was very awkward after that, and outside I called my friend an a-hole for not paying my daughter's tuition. I said he makes very good money, and he can afford to pay the tuition. He told me off and left and went back to his fancy condo, might I add. Meanwhile, my daughter was in her room crying, claiming she hates her father. So much so that she blocked all contact with her biological parents and claimed she hates them and never wants to speak to them again. I don't know how I will cover the 50 grand. It's basically half my salary over 2 years. So am I the a-hole? Info. You say gave you their daughter. Was there not a legal adoption? What do the adoption papers say about what they owe you? Was support addressed at all? You seem to simultaneously want this to be a foster child when it benefits you and an adoption when that does. And I'm completely unclear on which is true. If you adopted her, they are not her parents anymore. They are people offering you a gift, one you seem incapable of taking without sabotaging it. Also, why are you waiting till she's 17 to pay for school? You could have saved with pennies on the dollar if you'd started a college fund 17 years ago. And now you're trying to figure out how to scramble. Did you just figure and tell your daughter to expect that rich bio dad would save the day? Because it sure sounds that way. Your daughter had been primed to ask for the full amount, and that audacity doesn't come from nowhere. She wanted to go to some college with her friends. She told us, we applied, she got in, and now we have to pay. And we didn't start a college fund because we thought the parents would pay for it. They told us no, that we had to start it instead, and my wife yelled at them. You and your wife are the parents, you idiot. You're the a-hole. You wanted their child, which means she is your responsibility. 20% was very generous. Good job for being entitled and raising an entitled daughter. The way my eyes bugged at the why not more? I mean, can these people get more entitled? And now you get 0%. Of course, you're the a-hole. This is important from OP's comments. OP also neglected to mention the following. They didn't just offer to pay 20%. They offered to pay 20% of the tuition and to pay off her dorm on campus or an apartment off campus. They also wanted to give her $5,000 to spend on food, which I think they need to send more. Oh, and apparently, they also paid for 75% of his daughter's car. They have been incredibly generous, despite having no financial obligation to him, and he still demanded more. These people gave you the gift of parenthood when you were struggling with infertility and not sure if you would ever have a child. They literally gave you their child and trusted you to be a good parent to her rather than giving her up for adoption elsewhere. And now you're acting like they're a-holes for not bankrolling you as a parent? Either your child is yours or she isn't. If you love her and you consider her to be your daughter, then it is not any other adult's responsibility to financially provide for her education, including the adults whose egg and sperm created her. And that's the grossest part of all of this, that you don't even see that you are literally negating your own parental connection to your daughter for a money grab. You're saying that she's your daughter, except when you want money from your well-off friend and then she's his? It's beyond horrifying. Do what every other parent who does not have a wealthy friend does to manage their child's education. You should have been saving money or take out student loans or apply for scholarships. That man is not our parent. If he were, you wouldn't be. You're the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for walking out of a babysitting gig after I found out that a kid was diabetic? I, 18 female, babysit for several families in my neighborhood. One of the families that I babysit for recommended me to this woman who is new to the neighborhood. She contacted me on Wednesday asking if I could babysit her 2 kids on Friday evening through Saturday afternoon. Apparently it was her friend's birthday, and they were spending a night in the mountains to celebrate. She asked me to show up a little bit early so that she could go over things with me. Nothing abnormal, especially since I've never met them before. I show up and she starts going over the usual stuff, and then she starts talking about insulin and blood sugars. Apparently, one of the kids, 5-year-old, has type 1 diabetes, and she didn't think that it would be important to let me know beforehand. I have zero experience caring for diabetic children. So I told her that I wasn't comfortable. And she just said, "Oh, don't worry, it's easy," and then tried to show me how to give an insulin injection. I also told her that I am squeamish around needles, and she kind of laughed it off and continued trying to teach me. I finally had to cut her off and basically told her that unfortunately, I wasn't comfortable caring for a diabetic child on such short notice, especially since she'll be hours away, and probably drunk, let's be honest. She started freaking out and begging me to stay, as she didn't want to miss her trip. It seemed like she was about to cry as I was leaving, which made me feel bad. I texted her when I got home and basically said that in the future I would be willing to try, but I'd like to have some kind of trial run, and we could build up to overnight once I actually knew what I was doing. She read my text but didn't respond. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Since you are neither qualified nor comfortable with performing such a task, you made the right choice. Not the a-hole. As a teacher, my wife has 2 kids in her class with diabetes, and she and other staff had to have special trainings, not for just administering insulin, but also to understand blood sugar levels, the effects of food, etc. This is not the kind of stuff you learn in a 5-minute chat before someone walks out the door and entrusts their kid to you. Both my parents had to work with my endo nurse to learn how to give injections, and they still don't like doing it. I would never ask someone I barely know to understand a care that a type 1 needs. Even nurses at some schools I've gone to had to get retrained when I started there, because I was their first type 1 in years and was using equipment that they had never used. Even when I was diagnosed, I was in the hospital for type 1 training for 3 days to learn what I needed to do to not die. Asking someone to learn all that in 5 minutes seems impossible to me. My mother is a nurse, and my dad was still in hospital for 2 days to be trained when he started on injections. Type 1 diabetic here. Totally not the a-hole, especially because you have zero experience administering insulin or dealing with lows. Minor mistakes on dosage can have serious negative consequences. Same with waiting too long to take insulin. That mom should know better. Good for you for walking away from that risky situation. T1 here. Can you imagine if the kid has low blood sugar in the night? OP might not have even woken up to catch it. And given the kid is getting injections and not on a pump, there's probably no CGM. Seriously, T1 also and horrified at this mother's thoughtlessness. If it was a teenager who could mostly handle their own care, maybe it would be okay to give a 5-minute rundown. But a 5-year-old? Not the a-hole. She blindsided you and was hoping for the best. Even if the kid just needed to take a pill at bedtime, that sort of thing should have been disclosed when you took the gig. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my parents I won't go home for Christmas unless they get me a gift? My 19 male sister Bree 17 is a brat. My parents spoil her rotten. And if she doesn't immediately get her way, she will throw a tantrum, and my parents will always give in to whatever she asks for. I wouldn't say she got in the way of me or our brother, 23, getting anything, but it was always really obvious who got more. My parents emailed me asking if I would be okay with doing a low-stress Christmas this year, as in nobody would get gifts for anybody else. We would just spend time together. I was fine with this, since I don't want anything anyway and it would make things less stressful like they said. So I called them to let them know, and they immediately told me what to get Bree. I was confused and said, I thought we weren't doing gifts this year. My mom said, yeah, but Bree's different. You know how she'll get if she doesn't get something. Besides, she's still a baby. This made me mad. Not because I wanted gifts, but because it felt like Bree was getting to be the favorite again. I hung up and looked on the family Amazon account, and they have already gotten her a brand new tablet, a bunch of accessories for it, a name brand giant makeup case, and loads of smaller things. I called them back and told them that I won't come home for Christmas unless I get a gift. It doesn't have to even be a fraction of what they spent on Bree. It could be literally the smallest thing. I just want one gift. They told me I'm being childish and they thought they raised me better. I told them that was the deal and hung up. I told my housemates that I might be staying here over the break, and when I explained why, they said I'm being immature and that my parents don't owe me anything because I'm an adult now. I told them the gift is the point, is that Bree's obviously being treated differently from me, but they said it's because she still lives with them and is still a kid, and that I should grow up and stop being entitled. I still think I'm justified, but now I wonder if I'm being an a-hole? Not the a-hole. The rules were no one gets a present, but now the golden child has to have a bunch of gifts, including gifts from everyone so she doesn't get upset. Scratch that. For your own mental health and well-being, it's time to consider low to no contact with them. Don't keep setting yourself up to get hurt because your parents obviously favor your sister. You're a whole 19. This "you're an adult" argument is ridiculous. She always been favored even before you were 19. Your parents have made it clear they favor one child, and that child exploits it to the fullest extent. There are people out there who may not be blood related to you, but will be better family than these people. Find them. Go live your life. Don't keep running back to people who make you feel less than because family. They're not bad people. They love me and I love them. They went to my cross-country games and all that. They weren't neglectful. They just have this huge blind spot when it comes to my sister, and I don't want that one thing to keep making me feel bad. I didn't say they were bad people. Their actions make you feel bad and less than your sister. I'm sure they love you, but she's the golden child hands down. That's always going to be the case, unfortunately. You can continue to try to discuss it with them, but you know how that's going to go. If you can afford it, I would suggest getting therapy to help you out here. A therapist would be able to help you come up with boundaries and better ways to handle this than me or anyone else here. Not stay whole. Buy your sister a book on recovering from golden child syndrome and have it delivered to the house during Christmas dinner. Your first Christmas on your own is hard, but lean into it. Fuzzy PJs all day, Die Hard, candy for breakfast and bacon for dinner were how I coped when I was your age. And now my kid and I do those things together. Man, that sounds perfect. I suddenly feel a lot less bad. Lol. It really is wonderful. Do all the things you'd get grief for doing on Christmas because they make you happy. I strongly suggest a whimsical onesie, and I hope you have a really merry, comfy slacker Christmas.
Am I the a-hole for reminding my mom that she said we couldn't have a relationship with her if we didn't accept one with her husband? My mom has me, 27 male, and my sister, 29 female, with our late dad. He died when I was 10 and my sister was 12, and when I was 15, my mom got remarried with her husband Frank. From the very start, my sister and I had issues with Frank. We have both bigger and smaller issues. The two big issues were one, he insisted that nobody mentioned dad in his presence. It didn't matter who we were with or where we were, it was not allowed. This included the times he tagged along when we went to see anyone from dad's side of the family. He would invite himself and then enforce this rule, or he'd make us leave. Mom let this happen. Even on dad's anniversary or birthday, we couldn't talk about him if Frank was around, and that included asking Mom if she wanted to come to the grave with us. Frank actually yelled at my sister during her graduation dinner because she had mentioned dad in her speech. 2. He inserted himself deeply into the relationship with our dad's side of the family. We could visit anyone on Mom's side without issue. He didn't even care if we said anything to him. But the second it was someone from dad's side and he found out we only mentioned it to Mom, he would scold us and insist we needed to ask his permission to see them. Then he'd tag along frequently and invite himself to see them too. This applied to a lot of things. Mom had already stopped coming with us before she even met Frank, but he insisted on being there. And if my sister or I said we didn't want him to come, then he told us we couldn't go. If whoever we went to see didn't want Frank inside the house, he'd say then we weren't allowed inside either. Once my sister moved out, he was angry that she spent more time with dad's side, and he tried to tell her what to do still. She was having none of it. My sister and I talked to Mom about all our issues with Frank, and we told her we didn't want a relationship with him. She always told us we needed to have one with him to have one with her. We took her at her word, and my sister stopped talking to her. And once I moved out, so did I. We stopped going to see her or spending holidays with her and Frank. We didn't invite her over or initiate any contact. She brought it up a few times, how we were bad at maintaining the relationship, and we told her we weren't. We just weren't maintaining that relationship, but she ignored us. She tried to come and see us a few times. We told her no, Frank, so she never came. We let her birthdays pass without any acknowledgement, and when she'd tell us about Frank's birthdays, we'd work to forget the date. A few weeks ago, I got engaged. I didn't tell my mom or ask anyone else to, but the news got to her. She was upset she didn't hear it from me, and upset I said no to her throwing an engagement party for us. She never even met my fiancé, which was something else that upset her. She asked how she's supposed to meet her for the first time at the wedding, and I told her she's not supposed to. I said she won't be invited. My mom did not expect that at all, and she asked me why. I told her Frank is not welcome, and she made it perfectly clear she won't come. I reminded her that she said we can't have a relationship with her if we won't have one with Frank, and I told her it would be over my dead body that I have a relationship with him. My mom said we were supposed to love her enough to accept Frank, and I told her I do not have to have a relationship with a man who would kick up a fuss over my dad being mentioned in his presence, and who tried to control the relationship I had with my family. I reminded her Dad is still my dad, and I'd find a way to incorporate his memory into the wedding. I asked her if Frank would tolerate that, or if he'd start yelling like at my sister's graduation. She told me she doesn't want to lose both her kids and she loves us. I told her we love her, but we're not willing to accept that man she calls her husband. Then she told me I was being so unfair, and when she said what she did, we could have talked about it more. That reminding her like this wasn't right. I said this was the consequence of her actions. I told her I could live with the consequences of not accepting Frank. That I can sleep fine at night knowing our relationship is what it is, and it isn't my problem if she can't do the same. Now she's upset and angry, and apparently, I'm the bad guy in her eyes. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Your mom made her choice. Now she's facing the consequences. Stay firm. It really baffles me how OP's mother never protected her children, but is upset when her children have no loyalty towards her. Actions have consequences. Your mom prioritized her husband over her kids for years. Now that you and your sister have moved on, she's facing the result of her own choices. That's not on you. And somehow in her mind she still made herself the victim of her choices. Not the a-hole. She's probably going to have another "Oh Pikachu" face for you when she doesn't get an invite to the wedding. Or she'll do everything she can to try and change my mind/our minds before the wedding. Unless it's divorce and disavowing Frank, I don't see it happening. And honestly, OP, I think she lied just to go. But it's important you and your sister hold firm. You need to establish these firm boundaries before you start families, because you definitely don't want your mom assuming her and Frank get grandparent privileges. It'll definitely all be a lie, because she'll either bring Frank without permission, or she'll bring him knowing he will start yelling. The fact she expected any different after my sister's graduation alone says everything. Next story. Am I the a-hole for cutting contact with my father even after the DNA results showed that I was indeed his son? My 21-year-old male parents, 52-year-old male and 45-year-old female, are currently going through a divorce. It's not a nasty situation, just a recognition that they've stopped liking each other and can no longer stand being in the same room. For some background, they've been married for just over 21 years. Yes, I was the reason they got married. And aside from me, 21 male, they have another son, 9 male, a full 11 years younger than me. About 2 weeks ago, they had the talk with their lawyers. I'm away in another region of the country for college, but according to my mom, during the discussions, my father repeatedly questioned whether I was actually his son. He claimed I had ruined his life and called my mom horrible names. His words, not mine. My mom decided to settle the matter with a DNA test, so I had to take leave from college and return home. The test was conducted with lawyers present, and throughout the entire process, my dad refused to look at me or say a single word to me. Afterward, I went back to college, and their divorce proceedings resumed. When the DNA results came back, my mom called me really cheerful and happy. I am indeed his son. The day passed without a single call from my dad. It took him 2 weeks to reach out, but I didn't answer. Honestly, I had no desire to hear from someone who had been so adamant that I was nothing but a burden his entire life. My silence was interpreted as rebellion, and now everyone on my dad's side of the family is angry with me. So my question is, should I even try to have a relationship with my dad after what he said? And how can I make him understand how deeply his words hurt me? Hey, first off, I just want to say I'm really sorry you're going through this. No one deserves to be treated like that, especially not by a parent. You're absolutely not the a-hole for cutting contact. Your father didn't just question your biology. He attacked your identity, your value, and your place in his life. That kind of betrayal cuts deep. You had to stand in a room, take a DNA test, and be treated like a stranger by someone who should have always been your biggest supporter. Now that the results proved him wrong, he only reached out when he felt like it, with no apology or accountability. That's not okay. Right now, it's okay to protect yourself, take space, and say, that hurt me too deeply, and I need time, or choose to go no contact and walk away for good. Stay focused on your studies, your mental health, and the people who treat you with love and respect. You didn't ruin anything. He's the adult who made his own choices. Whatever you decide, you've got every right to set boundaries that protect your peace. Also, because I'm petty, for those on your dad's side of the family, they really need to be put in their place. Responses prepared below for maximum impact. Interesting how I wasn't his son until a lab said so, but now I'm supposed to be the disrespectful one for not answering his calls? Appreciate the sudden concern for family bonds. Wish that same energy had shown up before the DNA test. He called me a burden, questioned my existence, and now I'm the bad guy for not picking up the phone? Tell him to try fatherhood next time instead of damage control. Imagine needing scientific evidence to acknowledge your own child and still thinking I'm the one with issues. Funny how none of you questioned him when he was denying me, but now you're experts on respect and family values. Interesting. Good grief. I hope karma finds this man and his enabling family quickly. Thanks for the support, and also for the missiles you're lending me. I think I'm gonna have a talk with them, because my relationship with that side is as tumultuous as the one I have with my dad. It was your mom who told you what your dad said. That was insensitive and uncaring on her part. Obviously, it's your choice whether or not to talk to him again, but if you do, let him know what your mom told you so he has a chance to apologize. Okay, maybe that got lost in the translation too, but my mom didn't tell me. She sent me a copy of the audio recording of their conversation, which is allowed in my country. Could you send that audio recording to your dad's side of the family? Maybe respond to their messages and calls with just that until they stop reaching out. Already done. Safe to say my grandparents both had a heart attack and also threatened me to be removed from the family testament. Not much property to share anyway, so I don't care. My aunts, all of them, bombarded me with Bible quotes and family quotes like they were Vin Diesel, and my uncles are all trying to grab a drink together. They'll probably beat me up. Mini update. Crap hit the fan in a way I didn't anticipate, so I gave him a piece of my mind today. And now he is actually staying camped on his belief and has asked me to sign a paper that's going to release him from any parental rights. Life has a way to show you who matters and who doesn't. In my case, I can tear apart that entire branch of the family tree. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister she lost me the second she even considered dating my ex who gave me an STD and didn't tell me? I, 28 female, was with a guy called Jason, 29 male, when we were 20 to 21 years old. We broke up when I was 22 after I found out he had not only cheated on me, but knew he had contracted an STD from sleeping around and didn't tell me. He had known about it and was told he needed to speak to any sexual partners because of the risks associated with this STD to fertility, and he said nothing. I remember when I told my family what had happened, they were all there to support me, and my sister, 27 female, was one of them. I did move on, and I met my husband a year after breaking up with Jason. Thankfully, I was able to get pregnant, and we have a baby together. But I never forgot the fact that Jason did what he did. Cheating was bad enough, but you can move on. The STD was where it became not only unforgivable, but I would have taken issue with anyone in my family even becoming friends with him after that point. But then 3 months ago, my sister asked me if I would be okay with her dating Jason. She told me she didn't want to lose me, but they had met again after several years. She liked him, and he'd changed. I walked away from my sister without saying a word, and she started dating Jason officially. Though when she came to me like she did and asked me like she did, I would guess they had been unofficial before that point and not just friendly. I have shut my sister out of my life, and she has not been allowed to come and meet my child. The rest of the family stands with me and what I decided, but they have not shut her out of their lives, which is totally fine and not an issue for me. But my sister doesn't like that, and she has tried to get in touch with me several times. She has cried and asked me to hear her out and talk to her. I did run into her once since, and I ignored her. She was talking to me, but I acted like she was a ghost I couldn't see or hear. So she ambushed me at my house the other day and told me she doesn't want to lose me, and that she'd break up with Jason if I stop ignoring her and we can go back to being sisters. I told her she lost me the second she even considered dating him. I told her I might not have known about it in that moment, but once I heard she wanted to date him, knowing what he did to me, it was over. She's crying about it now, and our family is refusing to hear her cries about it. My baby sister, 24, told me she's trying to get the rest of the family to confront me about it, but nobody will. She does think our sister is genuinely hurt about this, but she feels like it's her own fault. And I agree, but I know what I said to her might still be overly harsh, because even thinking about it, without acting on it, would have led to this, which might be wrong of me. So I'm here to ask, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. People who are bad people, cheaters, abusers, etc., have a charming and likable side. That is how they get their victims or partners. I am always amused when someone says, "No, he's changed." Has he? Or is he just showing you the side of him he wants you to see? If he has changed, can the sister articulate how he has changed and what drove him to change? How has he made amends, or at least acknowledged the person he was? In 99.9999999% of the he's changed cases, he has not changed at all. He is just in the love bombing stage. The person who believes he has changed almost always finds out the hard way that he is still a cheater, still selfish, still dishonest. He has changed so much that he happily pursued and is staying in a relationship with someone, knowing that it is destroying her relationship with her family. Not the a-hole. I'm not sure what your sister expected to happen, but that's pretty low. I am curious how holidays and family gatherings work. Since your family still allows her to show up, do you just not go? I get the invites to gatherings. They talk to her still, but she's not invited to that stuff, and it was made clear that is extra firm, because she is not allowed to bring Jason around the rest of the family. Then I would say your family is doing the right thing. Typically they stand by you, but still invite the family member that was clearly in the wrong. I've heard of that, and I always hate it. My family has really stood by me, and I'm incredibly grateful. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my fiancé? I'll leave him if he keeps using our money to support his homeless mother, who hid her foreclosure from us for years? This whole situation is a mess, and I don't know if I'm being heartless or just finally setting boundaries. My mother-in-law lost her house due to foreclosure. The twist, she never told us. For years. My fiancé and I absolutely would have helped if we had known. We're not rich by any means, but we would have done whatever we could to make sure she was able to stay in her house, especially because she lives with her severely disabled husband, my fiancé's father, and her disabled adult daughter. Now they're all homeless, and we're left scrambling. When everything came to light and they got evicted, I immediately got them an extended stay hotel and paid for a week in advance. While talking with my fiancé about how they were going to pay to live in the hotel, I was told that their disability check would be used for housing. But apparently my fiancé kept paying for their hotel and their storage unit, all using our joint bank account, without telling me. I didn't notice right away because I have a business that I'm trying to grow, and I'm busy taking care of our child. Yesterday, I finally looked at our finances and saw that over $11,000 was used for all of their expenses, and I completely lost it. I drove to the hotel and told everyone that no more of our money would be used for them. I told my fiancé that if one more cent of our money was spent, I would break the engagement and leave. It's not that I don't care about them. I do. But I feel betrayed that she hid the foreclosure from us, let the situation spiral into homelessness, and used me as a personal piggy bank. This money was meant for the new house we were supposed to be buying and also for my daughter's school. I also feel disrespected that my fiancé went behind my back and used our money without asking. Now, the morning after, I'm starting to feel guilty, like it's my fault that they're going to be on the streets. Also, I feel it's important to add that we have never had a good relationship with his side of the family. We've been together 13 years, so this isn't a new relationship. His mother has never really wanted anything to do with our daughter, except for maybe 3 holidays a year when we go to see her. Am I the a-hole for telling them that I will no longer financially help? Edit to add. They had money, they won a large settlement, a few million, and she blew it all. He's committed financial infidelity, and it's not a small thing, so don't feel compelled to excuse it, because there's so much emotional baggage that comes with this situation. In fact, I think separating finances in the short term is reasonable. Exactly, $11,000 is a huge amount to secretly spend. She didn't sign up to be the sole provider for his entire family. She has her own child to prioritize. She said it's our money, which to me means she's not the sole provider. She's angry that he didn't tell her or that he disrespected her. Actually, he wouldn't have the money if my parents didn't give me the down payment for our house that we just sold. He put no money down. Not the a-hole. I hope you moved the money to an account in just your name for the time being. I'd be livid. 11,000? No damn way.